Hi, welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. So I was checking my phone and I saw that I had a notification from Cash App, right? And I'm like, why? How come my phone? Well, actually, I think my phone opened up the Cash App, so they hack into my phone again to open up the Cash App. And why did they do this? And I'm going to explain to you guys. This is why you see this article right here. When I talk about how they'll try to find ways to try to deny me my disability, take my disability. Again, I got disability because of the damage that they've done to me, right? The cognitive warfare, the illegal microchipping, the attack with vibrational acoustic weapon to damage my spine, and also with radio wave, microwave frequency, right? What is known as silent sound spread spectrum. The use of noise as a weapon to not only damage me psychologically, but also cognitively, right? And the use of psychological operations, coercive persuasion programming, as well as Zoom, covert warfare, covert drugging, honey trapping, and so forth, right? This is what they do. So they're always scheming. Why? Because I keep exposing them. Like yesterday, I did a video last night when I got home, to show you guys how they use these so-called, degrading themes against TIs. And so when you expose what it is that they do, they'll always go through the next phase. And because they're embedded within every system, every society in America, they will engage in many tactics and manipulative All right. So again, now they're up to the old tricks. Or I should say, they keep on uh, showing me what it is that they can do, how they do it, and I'm gonna keep on exposing it. So every month, I donate $30 to the new Black Panther Disaster Relief Fund. Now, again, I think I share most of their ideology in terms of awakening Black people to their true reality, and in terms of getting Black people to unite and work together, particularly Black men and Black women, to build together, to put away the condition, to recognize the conditioning of the extreme consumerism mindset that we have, right? Dr. Claude Anderson talked about this. Again, if you look at all the Black people who have been talking about this for decades, you'll see that they wrote books about it. They've studied these things, right? But they are also demonized. They're also demonized. And Dr. Clark, every Black scholar who is conscious, who is aware, who knows white supremacy, when you look at who they were, when you look at how they sabotaged their job, how they wrote books and they sabotaged their books, right? They sabotaged them to economically destroy them or to keep them in poverty. Like I said, this is nothing new, right? And Black people, we need to wake up to that reality that the system built by these criminals, which is meant to benefit these criminals, was never built for Black people in America or anywhere else. Okay. So again, every month I donate $30, which is I figure, hey, I usually subscribe to Xbox Live for me and my kids, and I said, you know what, no more, no more of that. So I said, let me subscribe. Let me at least I can help people out, right? And every Black person, you should go and donate to the new Black Panther Disaster Relief Fund. You should also donate to the fund that's by Dr. Ray Higgins. I think it's called. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's called the United Negro Fund. Something I'm not quite sure, but go to Dr. Ray Higgins' channel. It's on there. Okay, that we need to start funding organizations that where you have Black people like you and me who are willing to speak the truth, who are willing to fight for you and I. Because when these white supremacists engage in doing what they've done, what they've done to the Palestinian in Israel, and there's no one to defend us, because we didn't support these people. I'm going to show you how the U.S. government support white supremacists. I'm going to show you how they fund them, how they arm them. And I've talked about this before. These so-called white private militias, these so-called private armies, they're owned by white supremacists, right? So the fact that now they hacked into my PayPal account and they have sent membership dues. Now again, why did they do this? Because I didn't do it. You know, every month I donate $30, which I did this month. But what they have done, excuse me, is to try to gaslight me, right? Because in the beginning of the month, I sent $30, and what they did is that they erased that payment. They did not let that payment go through to do exactly what it is that they just did, right? And so to try to say, well, the new Black Panther Party, these are a hate group. That is not a hate group. The new Black Panther Party is not a hate group. I'll tell you what's a hate group. The Anti-Defamation League, that's a hate group. I'll tell you what else is a hate group, right? A lot of these white MAGA groups that millions of white Americans donate to every month, right? But yet, they don't call them hate groups. They don't. They call them MAGA, right? Right? They're not a hate group though. They're MAGA, right? They make America great again. They mask. I won't even say mask. You look at the Heritage Foundation, right? You look at some of these right-wing foundations who are hate groups, but they're not labeled as hate groups. All right, so I don't listen when they talk about the new Black Panther Party and the Black Panther Party. Remember, they said the Black Panther Party was the greatest threat to America, but yet the government went and stole their ideas and and incorporated within public school system, within the social safety services, right? But yet, they at the time they said the Black Panther was a threat. So any group or organization that I talked about when it comes to dealing with black people, we have to open up our eyes and understand that the people who have shown us and keep telling us, listen, we need to unite, we need to organize. But religion is one of the biggest obstacles in which black people will not unite, because black people don't know anything about their religion that they believe in. They are so indoctrinated that they'll try to make the religion black. Oh, the Bible is black history. The Bible is not black history. The Bible is not black history. There is no date, anything like that. There is no, they may have some historical people in there, but it's still a myth. I talk about Harry Potter. In Harry Potter, you have the city of London, right? You have New York. If you ever watch what is it? The Fantastic Beasts. They're in New York, but it's what, sci-fi, it's fantasy. But we know New York, existed. It's a historical place. It's a historical location geographically, right? So again, they will mix reality with fantasy. But the Bible is not black history, okay? Not in the sense in which they try to make it seem as it is, right? So let's take a look at it says how the U.S. began funding white supremacist mercenaries. When I talk about how well trained these white armies, private armies are, how well funded they are, our very own government, but yet the government will demonize black organizations that teach gun safety, right? That when they the no effing around group organization and what they did to their leaders, right? How they, and this was what during the Trump Obama administration, right? Literally saying that he aimed his rifle at a federal agent. No, he didn't. No, he did not. So you telling me that they're having a protest and he looked through his scope and all of a sudden he's charged with pointing a rifle at a federal agent? Right? I want you to understand how they do things to eliminate our leaders. This is what they do. You hear the sirens in the background? Yeah, I'm exposing you all shit. Yeah, I'm gonna keep continue to expose it. Keep trying me. But anyway, this is what they do. And convicted him and give him 10 years. Why? Because hopefully he's smart enough to have a lead, the next leader underneath him who can take his place. But black people, we also got to understand the technology they use to manipulate us, like silent sound, radio wave, microwave frequencies, to manipulate our minds. Right? So, here we go. I tell you, I love it, man. The white supremacists, in their stupidity, because to think that you're white, that you're superior because you're white, that is a mental illness and it is stupidity. Okay, so let's talk about this. I wanted to read how the U.S. government, not only here in America, but in South America, in the Caribbean, and Africa, they have been funding white supremacist private army to cause conflict and sow division across the globe. All right, to start, let's discuss our favorite subject on Skip History, white supremacists. Recall from our last episode how after the Civil War, the military served as a fertile breeding ground for racism. U.S. soldiers proceeded to kill thousands of people of color in wars in the Philippines, the Caribbean, and Central America. After returning home, many soldiers joined the KKK, and after Vietnam, where the racism that permeated in the military remained unaddressed. Radicalized vets returned home to continue fighting communist Jews and people of color in places like Greensboro. So entering into the 1980s, the U.S. was in desperate need of a leader who would turn down the temperature on this simmering stew of hate. Yet, instead of hiring a master chef, we went with Guy Reganeriani, whose staff created new opportunities for bigoted vets to fight in foreign countries, notably in Nicaragua, while also transforming the way that the government unleashed white supremacists abroad. To see what I mean, let's go back to Nicaragua in 1979, when the Sandinistas, a people's movement consisting of socialist and left-wing Christians, overthrew the 50-year-old U.S.-supported dictatorship and set about combating widespread poverty and high infant mortality by providing health care. Listen to this, okay? These are Christians, all right? Passing land reform and supporting education, this was a welcome change for the family members of the thousands of people whom the previous regime had tortured, assassinated, and disappeared. But to members of the so-called cowboys, a war-hungry fraction of the Reagan administration, the Sandinistas represent a new communist threat. How are they a communist threat? They were a socialist. They were a Christian socialist movement. Okay? For example, the CIA chief, William Casey, wanted to topple them and restore the agencies to its earlier good days under Cold War warrior Allen Dulles. And when another cowboy, Oliver North, who participated in the Phoenix program, a covert operation in Vietnam that led to the death of thousands of civilians, was asked what he saw as the difference between Vietnam and Nicaragua. North replied, 10,000 miles, and took out a piano and added, and I'll walk every single one. So in the late 1981, per the Cowboys' urging, Reagan instructed the CIA to organize Nicaraguan exile into a counter-revolutionary army called the Contras. And with U.S. support, the Contras began mining Nicaraguan harbor and bombing bridges. But due to the widespread resistance to further U.S. intervention after Vietnam, when Congress learned the scale of the operation, they passed Amendment prohibiting sending further military aid to the Contras. Undeterred, the cowboys sought alternative, illegal ways to continue arming and training the Contras. Enter people like Thomas Posey, member of a loosely organized network of veterans and National Guardsmen and a supporter of the KKK. Posey was so excited about the Reagan administration push to roll back communism that he set out gallons of pickle jars in stores asking for donation to stop the communists in their tracks. When that didn't work, and next time I recommend using Kitchen's jars, Posey joined with fellow vet and Ku Klutzer to form a paramilitary group called Civilian Military Assistance. Some CMA, along with a handful of other mercenary groups and mercenary training schools that were formed around this time, came to the attention of the cowboys, and using money that the Reagan officials secretly raised from conservative donors and by selling missiles to Iran, U.S. mercenaries set up shop in Tegucigalpa, capital of Honduras. From there, they trafficked arms to the Contras in neighboring Nicaragua and trained them in tactics that included, as one high-level Contra official reported, arriving at undefended village where they could assemble all the residents in the town square and then proceeded to kill all persons suspected of working for the government. Another Contra leader confessed that this was premeditated policy to terrorize non-combatants. So again, I want you to understand what it is that they do to us here in the black people in the U.S. using the police force as a tool to assault, to brutalize, to threaten, to create fear in the minds of black people. Okay? And to scare people away from supporting the Sandinistas. And again, leftist reform. So what they try to do with the new Black Panther movement is try to say that, but the new Black Panther movement have never engaged in any violence against police officers, against the U.S. government. Now, talking about Timothy McVeigh, right? He drove a bomb into the FBI building, right? This is what you call, that's what you call extremists. So I want you to understand the mindset of white supremacists. That when black people are organizing, training, each other to protect each other and themselves from the white supremacists who are in position of authority, right? They take offense to that because they want us to be defenseless, unarmed, so they can continue to manipulate us and abuse us. Okay? So yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to, read some of this. Because again, this is a history, and you guys can read this. You guys can go read this document, right? How the U.S. government began funding white mercenaries, and they still do it today. Private armies get tens of billions of dollars from the U.S. government. Okay, understand that. And these private armies are white supremacist militias who are in the military, or ex-military, ex-Navy SEAL. Ex Green Beret and so forth, right? So they are well trained and they are well funded. It is up to us as black people to fund the organizations that was created by black people who love us enough to want to train, because they understand that racism in America isn't going anywhere. It's actually getting worse, right? You see what happened in Mexico? In Mexico, you had Mexican teens, right, with the swastika behind them, doing the Nazi sign. Right? This is, again, we tend, as black people, we tend to just want to believe shit. We just don't want to know anything. And when they catch us, they're going to catch us by surprise. Oh, it's going to be by surprise. Because no matter what we see, no matter what they're showing us, we still don't want to believe it. We still don't want to believe it. But you believe a religion that is based on white supremacist ideology. You believe that religion. You believe in a God that's a white supremacist God. You believe in that God, though. Right? So anyhow, let me show you guys. Okay, so I just realized that they paused the video because I had unpaused the video, so I'm not quite sure what was recorded. But I just want to show you. I just want to just go over quickly. So they're making all this big deal about me donating to the new Black Panther Disaster Relief Fund, which I donate $30 a month, right? You know, I had to cancel my subscription to the Xbox Live, which I share with my kids. So I disconnected that. So I donated to the Black Panther Party, right? So what they've done is that they've hacked into my Cash App account, right, and changed the payment. Now I usually pay $30 each month, all right, and I paid early this month, but they never let the payment go through, right? So they held the payment and then deleted from the system, and this morning send a $25 membership due. Okay, this is what they do now. This is what they're doing, right? And again, just showing you guys how they try to demonize the New Black Panther as a hate group. Meanwhile, the U.S. gives billions of dollars to these white militias that have white supremacists in there. They are well funded, well trained. So when they turn on us, when they get the opportunity comes, and they will, we will be left defenseless. We will be left unprotected, right? And so then they started with the sirens too. So there's no wonder why they paused the video, right? Because I was recording. I'm still thinking that, let me make sure that this video is recording too. All right, let's see. Yeah, right. So all this time that they paused the video, I didn't realize it. They were using their sirens. Now they're silent. Now you don't hear them. Okay, so I was saying that I had to go look at just to again prove to you guys that what I'm saying is the truth. So you know it's not my opinion, all right? It's not an opinion. It's the truth and it's facts. All right, hold on a sec. Oh, by the way, yes. So you see $30 a month payment. This morning they went and changed it and did $25, and they put November dues. No, I didn't do that. If you look at all of the labeling, right? Disaster relief, NBPP, RGB, you know, but this morning they put November dues. Why? Right? I am not a member of the new Black Panther Party. Okay? I identify with the ideology because it's the right ideology for black people to have, for the most part. I may not agree with everything that they say, but in terms of black people training themselves to when it comes to weapons and weapon safety, when it comes to practicing group economics, when it comes to supporting black communities, right, and supporting black people, each other, I'm 100% on board with that. But they will always do things to say, try to discredit. And the reason why I cannot join any organization because I'm compromised, because I'm microchipped. Right? Knowing that, you see, if I didn't notice and I joined them, I would be an unwitting spy. But because I'm compromised, is the reason why I don't join these organizations. Is the reason why I don't join no organization. Okay, and they know this. So what they are trying to do is that trying to demonize, right? And what it is that they're up to, trying to manipulate me, right? And to try to commit some kind of violence. So then they can say, oh, he's a member of the new Black Panther Party. No, I am not. And like I said, this is why when I was trying to explain this, they started using their sirens when they paused the video, and I didn't know it. So they were constantly using the sirens, okay? Understand what it is that they're doing, right? All black people should be supporting the new Black Panther Party, the Huey Newton Gun Club, any black organization that is practicing self-defense, because the system wants us defenseless, to continue to abuse us, to continue to manipulate. Yeah, hear the sirens? Yeah, to continue to manipulate us, right? So that we don't fight back. They think it's okay, right, to go plant drugs in black people's pockets and cars, right? to hold on to evidence that prove the innocence of black men. This is why you see the majority of people being exonerated for crimes that they didn't commit are black men. And just recently, again, two black men who are innocent, right? And the DA and the prosecutor know that they're innocent. They're even though they've been exonerated, they're still fighting to keep them in jail. Excuse me. Right? They are still fighting, and we've seen prosecutors withhold evidence to prove these black men are innocent. And I'm always bringing up the Central Park Five because that is the it's important because these white racist supremacists tortured 5 innocent young black children. They were black children. Then ran a demonization campaign through the media, the newspaper, television, the news. And you have black people in the churches believe in that nonsense. See, when you are a believer and they want us to continue to be believers so they can manipulate us, this is what happens. This is what happens. These young men spend most of their entire adult life, rest of their teenage life, entire adult life, in jail for a crime they didn't commit. No DNA evidence, no physical evidence, no eyewitness evidence, and they're convicted because these people are master manipulators. They are master liars. And every system that they create is based on manipulation, lies, and their false agenda. Their sick mental illness. All right? So I wanted to talk about something else, but just hold on a sec. Let me pause and I can get to that one. All right. I love it when I go, when I do research and I go looking for answers. And, like I said, the answers just guide me in a way in which, as much as they try to understand, they try to combat, they can't. As much as they try to demonize, manipulate, which they've done, they can still continue to do. What I've learned is to counter a lot of their manipulation and a lot of their talking points. Because again, a lot of their talking points is based off lies. See, they're about lying. They're about manipulating. They're about deceiving. They're about creating division, separation within people. Right? We are about speaking the truth. Right? And until people understand the truth is the reason why we cannot unite. As black people, as people in general, because we have been taught lies. We continue to live in a system that is built on lies, manipulation, oppression, enslavement, right? Demonization of people, right? And so when they talk about terrorism, right? And, a lot of Americans don't want to admit or understand because they don't know that America has created some of the biggest terrorists in the world, some of the biggest drug dealers in the world. America has helped create some of the biggest drug trafficking, human traffickers, trafficking of children, and so forth, right? America has globally engaged in a terror network of arms dealing, drug trafficking, pedophilia, human trafficking, experimenting on poor people in so-called third world nations, right? You hear the sirens? I said right, because I'm right, okay? So you don't get to experiment on me, on my children. You don't get to hit us with weapons that you've created using the radio microwave frequency to manipulate us on our mind. You don't get to poison me and my children. You don't get to poison black communities and then try to tell black people that we can't talk about it, that we can't expose it, that we're supposed to accept it. Fuck you. Fuck you. Because if it was being done to your children, your family, you, like I said, white people will have already taken up arms and overthrown this government. All right? So save the bullshit. Because you cannot come with me with that. Right? I am the new mindset, the new black conscious mindset that is using social media to counter your narrative. You use social media to manipulate us. Facebook, Cambridge Analytica. Right? psychological experiment on their users, manipulating us. But we can't expose your manipulation? Yeah, okay. You got another thing coming. You got another thing coming. And when people understand, not just black people, but white people also, when they start to understand what it is that y'all doing, how y'all are the gatekeepers for the elites, and you black Sambos and Sambinas and the predator law enforcement, your time is coming. Along with your white racist buddies. Your time is coming. Okay? So let's look again. This is a declassified document, right? Why did they classify this? Meaning that when this article came out, they prevented it from coming out, I should say. Right? This is on the Christian Science Monitor. So when the CIA, the government realized that an article is coming out that will that speaks the truth, that will further throw a shadow onto the U.S. government and the security agencies, what do? They prevent it from coming out so the public cannot read it, right? But again, this is the length that they would go through to hide the truth. Okay, and this was when? This was from 1985, right? U.S. a safe haven for paramilitary groups that provide legal mercenary training. All right. Training terrorists has been associated with third world nations with leftist tendencies, but the swamp of American Southeast and the forests of the Midwest are increasingly the setting for schools in the black arts of mayhem. And I hate the word that they say black arts. I would say it's the white arts of mayhem. All right. Only a limited number of paramilitary training camps are known to be operating within the United States. They are organized particularly by extremist groups for their own members, right? By those who have a doomsday vision of the future in which people will fight amongst themselves for limited resources, and by former soldiers who share their military knowledge for a fee. Some of these groups operate in compliance with existing state and federal laws. A Senate subcommittee is investigating the degree in which the U.S. is a haven for paramilitary groups and a training ground for future terrorists. Okay? Jeremiah Denton, Republican of Alabama, chairman of the Subcommittee on Security and Terrorism of the Senate Judiciary Committee, said he is concerned that U.S. law enforcement officials don't have the necessary legal clout to preempt terrorist and paramilitary crimes in the United States. Law enforcement have some of the biggest terrorists, right? They have what have you been learning recently? Even though we as black people already know this, law enforcement is not infiltrated, is a white supremacist agency. Okay? It said, we haven't felt terrorism in this country as have Turkey, Italy, and West Germany. We must develop a nation terrorism strategy and policy and determine how to implement that policy. Remember, this is 1985. When did Timothy McVeigh drove a van into the federal FBI building, right? When did that happen? Was it the early 90s? Okay? Again, this is not new, people. This was happening all the way back in the 1970s also. Okay? This was from 1985. So Senator Denton's comments came at a time with heightened concerns about ties between white supremacists and a neo-Nazi group in the U.S. In addition, there have been reports of meeting between former members of the Ku Klux Klan and Louis Farrakhan, leaders of the black Muslim group called the Nation of Islam. Mr. Farrakhan has repeatedly made statements of an anti-Semitic nature. Now, I don't even follow that shit because we know that these Jews are not Semitic people, right? It is yes, you can use the sirens all you want. Fuck you, because it's the truth. Let them go take a DNA test. Let them go take a DNA test. All right? Now, again, call yourself whatever you want. Whatever religion you want to convert to, that's fine. But you don't get to steal people's history and claim it as your own. right? And saying that anybody who speaks out against the evil that you're doing is anti-Semitic. You don't get to weaponize a word that doesn't belong to you. Okay? You don't get to do that. You don't get to co-opt a history that doesn't belong to you. You don't get to tell black Israelites, black Hebrews, right, that they are not who they say they are. But when your scientists go and to the Igbo people and you do a DNA test on them, and you say to them that you are the people who identify themselves as Hebrews and Israelites. It isn't other black people saying it. It is Jewish scientists saying that. Okay? And this is something that you can't take back, because once it's on the internet, you know it's there. But yet they continue to demonize black people. Right? So again, Zionism is a racist ideology. Understand that. Okay? So I'm not going to read all of this, but as I was reading this, I remember the article I was supposed to be looking for. Hold on a second. Okay. So, I wonder what they're going to say now. Are they going to say Nigel is crazy? You know what he's talking about? All that's crazy. She don't know what she's talking about. Right? Black people who've been telling you all about this, they're all crazy. You know what we're talking about? I want you to understand how they get us to deny the truth when it's in our face. And this is Mexico. So when you hear in like in California, the city council leaders who are Mexican, they're talking disparagingly against black people, other groups of people. I want you to understand that America has been importing its Nazi ideology, its racist ideology, its white supremacist ideology in Mexico. And the reason why they do that, okay, the reason why they do that is so that they can create division in Mexico. That's the reason why they're doing it. Okay? So the Empire Strikes Back, inside a clandestine neo-Nazi concert in Mexico. Swastikas, Nazi salute, and Hitler tattoos were all the rage at an event where Mexicans and Spanish bands perform hard and nationalist music. Again, this is from where? 2022. Okay? I'm just, I just want to read the headlines. You guys can go and read this. You guys can go and read this, because there's a lot. There is a lot. Okay? And again, whenever they attack me, I keep telling y'all keep attacking me, I'm going to expose y'all in ways y'all can never imagine. Look at this. The New York Times article, August 28, 1940. What does it say? Nazi agents found busy in Mexico, viewed as a threat to U.S. defense. Fifth Column Network reported sowing hatred for U.S., planning sabotage and opening way for aid to invading forces. Okay? So all you MAGA, Jews will not replace us, all that stuff. Yeah. Understand what's going on, okay? All right. Now, this is recently sent to me by Alva. This is a text that she sent me, right? This is Max Blumenthal. The Gen Z rebellion in Mexico City was not only orchestrated against the wildly popular Claudia Sheinbaum by geriatric upper-class Mexican oligarch. As I said, the word Sheinbaum, Shinbloom, or whatever it is, they use the sirens, right? Upper class Mexican oligarchs and millennial fias. It features actual hailing Nazis. Okay, breaking Nazi rioters in Mexico City vandalized Scheinblum's right office with the phrase "Jewish whore." All right. See, when I talk about how, because of what Israel is doing, it's going to cause hatred and animosity for Israelis, white European Jews, or white Israeli Jews across the world, this is what I talk about. And because the rest of the world remains silent, you're going to see, going forward, the attack on Jewish people across the world. Because if you can become silent, if you're a Jewish person and you are silent about the genocide of a people, if you are silent about Israeli government and Israeli settlers going into Palestinian land, taking their land, literally kicking families out of their homes, and you remain silent, eventually it's going to create hatred amongst people across the world. And going forward, you're going to see Jewish people being attacked. Okay? And they cannot blame the people who are attacking them. Blame your government. Blame the Israeli government. Blame those within the elite circle who are Jewish for funding genocide. Right? And I say, as black people, when they start to do it to us, who's going to be there to protect us? Who's going to be there to fight for us? No one is fighting for the Palestinians. No one is fighting for the Palestinians. Okay? When we know, if it was the other way around, Europe, America would have been in war in Northeast Africa. It would have been, this would have, the start of World War III, not World War III, but the start of a war against the West and Arab nations would have already taken place. All right? So, again, keep on attacking me in the way y'all attacking me. I appreciate it because I get to expose y'all in ways that y'all cannot even imagine. All right? Talk to you guys in the next video.